Hello everyone, I'm Quinn Buckland, and this is the Geek Commentary. Recently I rewatched the new Peanuts movie. After I popped in the DVD, the preview showed the upcoming Ice Age, Kung Fu Panda, and Alvin and the Chipmunks sequels. It was then that it dawned on me, some things are just here to stay. But the big question is, do we really want them to stay? Nothing on the DVD was really overly new. Even the Peanuts movie is a new look at old material. While Kung Fu Panda is a relatively recent franchise to develop, Ice Age, Peanuts, and Alvin and the Chipmunks have a place in history, some more than others. While it's obvious that Alvin and the Chipmunks is merely pandering to an audience and Ice Age is milking it for all it's worth, only Peanuts remains as a well-made film. But why is that? Well, I have a few reasons as to why it's actually good. The first point is the feel of the film. It's quite plain to see that the makers of the Peanuts movie grew up watching the Peanuts shows, reading the comic strips, and enjoying it. Some people probably all the way from childhood. The feel of the movie remained the same, but this time it's in 3D animation, which a person forgets about pretty quickly into the film. That's not something easy to do. After a while, you feel like you're just watching an old Peanuts film from the 70s. But with that said, it's safe to say that we weren't pandering to an audience there. They gave the audience what they were expecting from Peanuts. They didn't chock it full of pop culture references like they do in Alvin and the Chipmunks or the Smurfs. They kept it as we remembered it. Even the jokes, while mildly updated, were nothing that we couldn't hear or imagine the characters saying, no matter what the era was. With that said, some would make the argument that doing that sort of thing in a movie risks a flat story and bringing absolutely nothing new to the table. Well, yes and no. While it's essential to bring something new to a film, no matter how old or how vast the fan base is, there's a right and wrong way to do it. Executives seem to think that filling a movie full of pop culture references will bring an audience and help sell what they would like to sell. While they're technically not wrong, this does lead to fans and audiences panning a film for the very thing that they believe should work. After all, it's not the references which bring people back to the film, it's the film itself. It's safe to say that we live in a generation of nostalgia. Everything we do is a desperate attempt to bring back the things we loved in our childhood. It really only makes sense that the movie studios will try and cash in on our nostalgic efforts. This is why we're seeing more reboots of old movies and movies of old TV shows. I mean, I'll be honest, I didn't know what to expect from the Peanuts movie when I first went to see it in the theater. All I had seen was a 3D version of Charlie Brown, and I'll be honest, it didn't give me much hope for a good film. I didn't know if it would be good or bad, but I knew that I loved the Peanuts, and thus I actually wanted to go see the movie. And it wasn't until the last viewing of the film that I had to ask the question, why do we still love the Peanuts? What is it about them that has captured the hearts and minds of both children and adults for 65 years? The characters haven't changed at all. They're pretty static, and when you boil it down, they're actually kind of boring. But yet we still love them. Why? Well, the answer is actually quite simple. Take a look at the three major comic characters that people love. Batman, Superman, and Spider-Man. Both Batman and Superman predate the Peanuts, and in that time they have both changed in so many different ways through the years. The heroes, the villains, the sidekicks, everyone. They all change. They'll have to in order to remain captivating to an audience. Even Spider-Man, who came out 13 years after Peanuts first debuted, has changed in many different ways. So what makes the Peanuts so special that they can remain loved after so long? It's because we see these characters within ourselves. Not just one of them, but all of them. Some of you might not be believing me right now. How could you possibly identify as Charlie Brown, or Linus, or Lucy all at the same time? Well, let's break them down. Charlie Brown is a wishy-washy loser who can't seem to do anything right. However, at the same time, he is also tenacious, a great brother, a great friend, and is shown on several occasions to be both brave and accepting of his situations. He is non-confrontational, though this does tend to bring on a sense of self-loathing. However, through all that, he strives to better himself. Linus is the supporting and caring best friend who's always there to give a pickup, offer support, or give some well-needed advice. However, due to his caring nature, it is not inconceivable to think that he hasn't had the chance to work on his own insecurities, thus leaving him to require his security blanket and sucking his thumb. And by now you're probably starting to see some similarities between yourself and probably some of the other characters, like maybe Peppermint Patty, Marcy, Sally, or hell, Schroeder. But Lucy? How could anyone possibly identify with Lucy? She's the angry bully that mercilessly picks on Charlie Brown. But that's just it. We identify with her anger. We identify with her desire and need to be the alpha at any cost. Here's the thing. These characters are certainly extremes of their archetypes. But that's how it works. That's how we identify with them. Instead of focusing on one type of person, the archetypes the characters all represent helps a wider audience identify with all of them. And I don't know if Charles Schulz had any of this in mind when he first created these cute little Peanuts characters, but it works. And I'm glad that a new movie is out for a new generation to enjoy and experience.